Our understanding was that a child was born out on the wall, probably down at Station 1. And that's painful to hear.
Welcome back to Square Off, a humanitarian crisis on top of a security crisis that's now spawned an economic crisis on the Arizona border. The closure of the border crossing to Rocky Point harming that Mexico tourist destination at a busy time of year. So, what is the Biden administration doing about the thousands of migrants pouring across the southern border, many seeking asylum? What can it do? Joining us to discuss that and much more, Christine Jones, an attorney and former Republican candidate for governor, and Stacy Pearson, a Democratic consultant and co-founder of Lumen Strategies. Welcome back to Square Off.
Good morning.
Going to start with our usual disclosures. Any professional connections to the people or issues we're going to be talking about today?
No, not this morning.
Nope.
Stacy?
Nope.
Although you do have your Rocky Point connection.
I was supposed to be in Mexico this weekend and I'm mad, so I'm glad we're talking about this.
Okay, angry Phoenix woman joining us this morning.
Angry mom.
Angry mom.
So much for those vacation plans.
Yeah. On a more serious note, not to diminish your pain right now, but the images we've seen from Lukeville, southern Arizona, the border, are just stunning. I want to show folks this video. Smugglers sawing through the fence that Donald Trump built to clear the way for migrants to seek asylum in the U.S. Hundreds of migrants waiting to be processed daily. Christine, how is this different from what we've seen over the last several years? And goodness, we've seen a lot of this.
Well, this maybe is just putting a finer point on the messaging that we've been talking about for more than a decade, which is we have to fix the problem at the border. And, you know, I always said we don't need the Great Wall of Mexico, but you have to have some barriers in some places where there are highly trafficked areas. Sawing through the fence is, you know, maybe a great political statement, but if we can't even allocate enough resources to stop people from taking the time to saw through a fence, we clearly are not staffing this properly. And it seems like we have ubiquitous agreement among all of the groups of every side of this issue today that says this is a serious crisis, it's humanitarian, it's critical, and let's fix it. And the Biden administration just doesn't seem to be willing to do it.
Let's talk about that. You led right into my next quotation. The Associated Press last week reported on the Biden administration's policy on the border, on how it's really swung to the right. It is Republicans who have all the cards. Quote, "It is also no secret the border is one issue Biden would prefer to avoid. The border specifically is one of the few issues he did not manage during his 36 years in the Senate, nor 2 terms as vice president." Yeah. It's been clear to me since the campaign and this administration, he has no interest, no feel. And now, is he paying a price for that? And will he pay a price for it in the election, these images?
Oh, absolutely.
And the reality?
And I was joking about it at the start of the show, but hell hath no fury like a suburban mom whose vacation plans have gone awry. And this coupled with what the crisis looks like, 6-year-olds standing in line, unaccompanied, when it's 45 degrees in the desert. It doesn't matter what your political party is. It's wrong. It is a crisis and it needs to be solved. And now we have American citizens who cannot travel freely, and we have resources dedicated to processing folks who will never come back to their court appointment in 6 years. It's just broken.
It is. And the only solution I see on the table is in Congress right now, they have to strike a deal on emergency funding that would include the Border Patrol. Is that the only solution out there right now?
Well, you know, there are some other solutions that states could take, but if you're going to shut down a border, and to Stacy's point, you're going to let only illegal traffic go through. No legal commerce, no legal tourism, no legal, exchange of citizens from one side to the other. You're only going to let illegal traffic come through. You are not willing to take any sort of affirmative action against solving the problem. Congress should have done Congress's job 36 years ago, to the quote that you played earlier. But today, when you have Katie Hobbs, a Democrat, 2 Arizona senators that are Democrats, all of the Democrats and Republicans, I beg your pardon, an independent, all agreeing that this is a problem, you almost have to take matters into your own hands. And maybe this is a chance for the Hobbs administration to step up and take some action with the Guard here.
Well, as we sit here right now, that hasn't happened yet. Perhaps it will sometime soon. Let's move on to the other big story this coming week. Tuesday morning, the Arizona Supreme Court will hear arguments on whether Arizona's territorial era near total ban on abortion should be state law. What is at stake in these arguments for women and families in Arizona?
Oh, it's all on the line, right? This territorial ban was in place when leeches and cocaine were also acceptable uses of medicine or treatments and legal treatments. I mean, people at this time thought you got pregnant based on where the moon was located. Yeah. So the fact that we're even talking about reinstating a medical decision from that era is insanity. And this might be, should the Supreme Court decide that is the law of the land, this might be the one thing that can improve Biden's numbers after this border debacle.
And the law dates to 1864.
Leeches.
Put too fine a point on it. Yes, leeches. And getting at that, what are the politics of this issue with a possible ballot initiative coming up next fall?
Well, this I think is the question. If the Supreme Court, and by the way, the legal part of me, the intrigue part, wants to say what happens if there's a tie and it upholds the appellate court's decision and we go back to the 2022 law. But if the Supreme Court doesn't end in a tie and they do decide to reinstate the territorial ban, I think it is an absolute certainty this goes to the ballot. And because more than 50% of the people in Arizona think that women should have at least some right to seek abortion services, it's going to pass. And it will, Republicans, please do not do this, it will strengthen Biden in the state. A place of weakness is going to turn into a place of strength if that happens.
And to be clear, if they do not uphold or restore the 1864 ban, the current 15-week ban on abortion remains in place, no exceptions for rape or incest. And about the tie, Justice Bill Montgomery,
right,
had to recuse himself belatedly from this case in a very strange flip-flop. Thank you. So that leaves it a tie. Chief Justice Brutinel will not add another justice to the 7-member court, so it's just 6 members, 3-3. We do know Montgomery is very anti-abortion.
Yeah, and that's a bad sign for the pro-territorial law advocates because, I mean, even though most of these justices were appointed by Ducey, who is an anti-abortion guy himself, you still could have some people who would say, I think the 2022 law trumps the territorial law. And so therefore, even though in my heart of hearts, I don't like this as a person, as an individual, I'm a justice and I'm interpreting the law and I have to vote in favor of the more current law. So it really could go to a tie.
All right, gotta stop there. When we come back, Kari Lake's making nice with Republicans who she savaged last year during her run for governor. How's that working out? Stay with us.